but at what cost? At what cost? What's going on, everybody? Eric Barassa here, and today I want to ask the question, have I ruined my Clapton Strat? So this is a Fender Eric Clapton signature Strat Blackie from 2010. So I've had this guitar for a little more than 10 years, and I absolutely love it. But there were a couple of things over time as I was playing it that I noticed were not working for me. So the big changes that I have made to this guitar are twofold. Onefold. There's one big change that I have made to this guitar that could have potentially ruined it. The other two things are reversible. Let's start with the smaller things. Number one, I changed the pickguard. I just kind of got bored of the black and white, and I thought, let's get an outer space thing. This is the like Andromeda Galaxy or something. I don't know. My son, who's 8, who loves outer space, knows what it is, and he recognized it as soon as he saw it. But honestly, it makes it just kind of look like a David Gilmour Strat now, and I kind of miss just the old black and white. So I think I am going to go back to just a standard white pickguard. The other change that I made was, you guys know about those Fender noiseless pickups. They just have no life to them. And yes, they eliminate hum, but at what cost? At what cost? I'll tell you what cost: tone. You completely lose out on tone, and it's really unbearable. I would say. I would say I'm like not that hard to please. I can usually find something good in just about anything, but honestly, a lot of the time, I would prefer like a Squier standard single coil pickup set than the sound of my Clapton Strat with those pickups. So I am a big fan of Eric Johnson. He has probably the greatest tone. Let me know in the comments below who you think has the best tone of any guitar player. And I'd say it's Eric Johnson. And Eric Johnson not only has the best clean tone, he has the best fuzz tone, and he has the best lead tone. He has 3 distinct tones that are uniquely Eric Johnson, and he does it with his pickups. So I thought, well, what the heck? You can't go wrong with that. There's a lot of pickups to choose from, but I'm sold just because it's Eric Johnson. I'll tell you what, the tone of these pickups is incredible. Incredible. It's got all the sparkle that you would want out of a Fender Strat. Plus, it's got enough mid-range, and it's also got that low end. So you get a very full sound, and they really sound best when I play them through my Twin. One of the issues with this guitar is it's very loud and very bassy. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's the extra electronics that are inside the Clapton Strat. It's got this 20 dB boost on this back tone knob. It's actually not a tone knob. If you crank it all the way to 10, it's a 20 dB boost, and it really fattens things up. So I typically just keep it rolled all the way back. You would probably use it if you were playing just a blues set and you were doing clean. You were just playing a clean blues tone, and then you wanted to give it a little extra bit, that Clapton woman tone. You would turn this up. It's going to fatten it up, almost give you a little distortion. If you have a tube amp that is on the verge of breakup, this knob will push it into breaking up territory. So it could be those electronics that just gives the guitar a little bit of that extra. I'm not sure. And then the middle tone knob is a mid-range boost. So if you put it at 5, it's actually at 10. So 0 to 5 is actually 0 to 10, and that controls the tone for all 3 pickups. And then if you go any further, it boosts the mid-range, and it gets even more stratty at that point. And I like to have that on about 7. Just that little bit extra. You put on 10, it's a little too harsh, I think. So that being said, these pickups being so full, sometimes on the neck pickup, on the lower strings, especially with lead playing, it gets a little too boomy. So that's my only thing there. I probably will not ever switch out those pickups. I have another American Strat that I think I'm going to put... that I'm going to put some Eric Johnson pickups in and see, because that guitar is not quite as boomy as this guitar. It'll be interesting to see what those pickups sound like, and I'll do a comparison video when I do that. That guitar actually has Fender Noiseless pickups in it as well, but it's such a unique guitar that there were only like 180 of them made. I'm a little scared to swap out any of the electronics. But that's a story for another time. So anyway, let's get to the big thing that I did to this guitar. This Strat comes with a soft V, and if you've ever played a Clapton Strat, by the way, let me know if you've ever played a Clapton Strat and what your thoughts were on it. I played a whole bunch of different Strats back in the day when I was looking for a really good American Strat. I had a standard American Strat that I really liked for a number of years. Let's not talk about my 20s where I bought and sold guitars like crazy, and I'm sure you've been there. You know, you buy one, you play it for a while, and then you sell it to get something else, and then over the course of 10 years, you look back and you're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have gotten rid of all those guitars. I really wish I could get that one back, and now they're hard to find. We'll have to talk about that sometime too. Anyway, it was a soft V, so I loved the look of the maple fretboard. It's a lighter maple. I loved the way it felt. I didn't like that V on the back. I wanted more of a C, like on my Mexican Strat. So this is the first guitar I ever bought with my own money, and it's like a 1997 or 98 Mexican Strat. Bought it when I was 13 with mowing money that I saved up, and it was just standard 3 single coils. I've done some modifications to it over the years, but the thing I haven't changed is the neck. I love the shape of the neck. The fretboard, I've had it refretted, and so it's got a little bit of a flatter radius now. And so this is like one of the best feeling necks I've ever had. So I took the Clapton Strat. Oh, and by the way, one time I was at this guitar conference in Chicago, and for 10 straight days, we are playing guitar for between 5 and 8 hours a day. So it was pretty intense, and it was fun. It was really, really a cool time. But I noticed that by doing too many bends, especially with my ring finger, I started to get pain in my ring finger that I never got from playing my other guitars. And it would come back every now and then. I'm like, what is the deal? And I think it's because this guitar had such a traditional rounded radius, which is like 9.5. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong about this. I frequently am wrong about specs on guitars. But I think it was a 9.5-inch radius, and it was so rounded that if I bent too far, it just put a big strain on my ring finger in particular. I would have to actually take a break from playing guitar for days at a time because of it. So I took this to Mark Saganero, who works on all of my guitars, and he's over in East Fort Worth, kind of like Arlington, Texas. And he can basically do anything. He saved my Parker Fly from certain destruction. And he basically, when other people told me it can't be done, he's the guy who would always say, yeah, I can do it. And it was great. So I said, here's what I want done to my Clapton Strat. I want to completely remove the finish. And, well, you have to remove the finish to make this change. But I said, I want a C shape. I gave him my Mexican Strat, and I said, I want it to feel like that. And so the fretboard feels more like, it's probably just like an 11-inch radius now, but to me it feels like a 12 or maybe a 14-inch radius even. It feels very flat, which is what I wanted. So I also wanted medium jumbo frets, not those thin, puny frets that they get. I have a hard time bending. I just don't get quite as much control with those really thin frets. So if you've ever played like a standard Mexican Strat, or even some of the American Strats, I think are like that. They don't feel quite as good, and it's harder to get as good of a vibrato with them, I think. So I had him put on medium jumbo frets and completely refinish the fretboard, or kind of flatten out the radius a little bit, and then give it a C shape on the back. And I'll tell you what, I love it. I am so inspired every time I pick up this guitar now. It just feels so good. The only downside is I have to clean it a lot more. It definitely gets quite dirty, but man, it's so worth it. Between the Eric Johnson pickups and what we've done to the fretboard, it's basically a perfect guitar. The only thing, if this was like totally customizable, I'd have it be 24 frets. And I use this guitar so much, probably this and the Parker Fly are my two primary guitars that I play. I'm thinking about putting a Seymour Duncan JB. I did have the JB Mini the JB Junior at one point in this guitar, but I think I would just go ahead and go for a full size. I don't think this guitar is routed for it. I think it would have to be cut to do it. I'm just not willing to do it right now. And these pickups actually really sing with distortion quite well. So I'm just going to leave that as is. But that's the one other thing that's kind of in the back of my mind that I might change. So, to answer the question, have I ruined my Clapton Strat? Absolutely not. Was I terrified to get this fretboard and neck reworked? Yes, but I couldn't be more pleased with the result. Again, the only change you're probably going to see moving forward is after these strings wear out, you'll probably see a standard white pickguard go back on here. And then I'll keep this pickguard and maybe I'll swap it back out. That's one of the fun things about Strats, is you can kind of customize it with the pickguards. If you get bored and you're like, man, I want something that looks different, instead of going out and spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on a new guitar, you spend $30 and get a customized pickguard. And so that's pretty fun. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Be sure and like and subscribe. Check out unlimitedguitar.com, where you can get over 25 courses and growing for just $10 a month, as well as access to me, and I'll help you with your guitar playing, as well as if you want live lessons. I own a music school here in Fort Worth called the Fort Worth Music Academy, and you can sign up to take lessons with one of our awesome instructors. These guys are just truly great. It is an honor to work alongside them. And anywhere you live in the world, you can sign up for online lessons with us. We'll do lessons with you on Zoom. So check out FortWorthMusicAcademy.com. And as my great aunt Shishi always says, is the Snyder Cut actually better?